Listen up, nerds and nerdettes, and we little nerdlings all. It's your buddy Big John and G, the two Gun Pixie presents Legendary Gaming. We're here for Tuesday, which means I am talking about a game that I've been liking. So this isn't a full review, this is just me pointing out some reasons why I like a particular game. So no full review, no going over rules and all that stuff, just a few pointers on why, a few bullet points on why I like a particular game. And this game in particular, this game I got for purposes of making showcases, and I'm glad I did. It's not normally my cup of tea, but I enjoyed this one, and I'm looking forward to the next. That game is Undaunted, Normandy. World War II game, 2 players. Resource management with your cards, and tile laying, and... well, I'll be talking about that in a minute, won't I? I'll see you all down at the table. Thank you so much for joining me here for another Tabletop Takeout Tuesday. Now, today I want to talk about a game that usually doesn't fit my particular search pattern, let's say. First of all, it's a war game, specifically a World War II game. Usually not a big fan of that. Second of all, it's a deck builder. I have a few I like, but generally I don't look for deck builders. But yet, despite hitting 2 potential red flags for me, this game did it for me, and that's why I need to talk about it and let you know what it was that keeps drawing me back to this game. So, Undaunted Normandy not only breaks all of that, but it does so in a way that really gave me a lot of fun. Now, first of all, before I say what I want to say, let me just build up and mention to you that your deck is your health. Now, this isn't the first time I've played with this. This isn't the first time you've heard of it. But it works so thematically perfectly for this, because each card in your hand is a soldier. That's nice. But it isn't just a soldier. And here's another part of the game that really latched onto me, was the fact that they all have names. Whether it's the American side or the German side. You don't just have a rifleman, you know? It's not like the enemy takes out your rifleman and now you're down 1 rifleman. No, my friends. They didn't just take down a rifleman. They took down Private Chris Marling. Poor Chris. And then as you get into this game, or at least like I do, then it becomes like a vendetta thing. It's like, we're going to avenge you, Chris. Come on, we're going to do this for Chris, man. Just let yourself go a little bit with a game, especially one like this, and that's what happens. And that's what I found happening in this game, and found it so enjoyable. Now, this game uses tiles instead of a traditional board. I really enjoy that, and it works. The way they have this game set up, it wouldn't work with a board, which is why I like this so much. Because different scenarios, you're in different areas, so by changing the tiles around, you're literally changing the French landscape. And therefore, you're making it a little bit more the way it's supposed to be for the scenario. Now, before I mention the scenarios, the tiles, the artwork on the tiles, actually the artwork through the entire game, there's a subtleness to it to begin with. But first of all, the tiles look amazing. When you're looking down at it, you can very easily forget you're sitting at a table in an apartment or a house somewhere. And you can almost literally pull yourself into that scene
of that old French countryside from the 1940s. I love the art in the cards. It is so reminiscent to something that I would see in a 1950s history textbook. Some of the drawings of soldiers during World War II in this book, I can see totally done in this vein. It reminds me of things I saw in 1950s textbooks when I was going to school in the 70s because, well, they didn't always have the most up-to-date books, even here in New York City. But it does. It harkens back to that, and that art is something that I really enjoy about it. The game revolves around scenarios, and all of these scenarios are based, to one degree or another, on actual or alleged actual military skirmishes, battles that happened after the D-Day invasion. What took me by surprise, which is another reason I like this game so much, is really at its core, this is a light rule system game. It's not an overly thought out game. There's not a lot of little fidgety rules going on here. But yet, despite that, the amount of strategy and the tactics of this game is the exact opposite. Although the rules feel light, the strategy and tactic is really heavy. Now, the only slight problem that I have, and I know other games may have a bigger problem, but this is why I want to bring it up to you, is that there's a lot of luck factor between the drawing of the cards from your reserve to make your hand, right down to the dice roll. There's a bit of luck, a little bit more luck in this game than you probably want. But with that being said, taking that out of it, there is still a lot of room for tactics in this game, for strategy. You're not going to win this game without one. No matter how lucky you are, you're going to need strategy, and it's going to differ from scenario to scenario, who you have available and what you can do to accomplish whatever the task is. It's another thing I appreciate about it. Now, you can create your own scenarios. That's where replayability of this explodes out. This is the kind of game that can very easily be rewritten by the players for this scenario versus that scenario. They're also coming out with a second game, not an expansion, a standalone game that is essentially the same as far as the way the game plays out, and that's Undaunted North Africa. So you can already see how adaptable this game is. I'm actually wondering if they're going to be able to adapt it to the Pacific. I don't know if they're going to be able to, but with the boats, instead of specific soldiers, maybe they can. But either way, with these games, you can write your own scenarios. So replayability, you can't count it. It's multiplied by the nth degree. Altogether, all those reasons drew me in and continue to draw me into enjoying this game. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of deck builders, and I'm not the biggest fan of World War II games. Yeah, I have a few. The Escape from Colditz is one of my favorite board games, regardless of the fact that it's World War II. But it's not something that I go out to look for. And yet this game found me. So I want to make sure that you know about it. So by Osprey Games, please check out Undaunted Normandy. If you get a chance to play it at a friend's house, or a gaming cafe, or just ordering it, you're going to like this game. This two-player game. Sorry, I didn't mention that at all before. This is a two-player game. So try it out. I think you're going to have a lot of fun. Even if, like me, deck builders aren't your favorite or World War II is not your favorite. You know what? In closing, they could have skinned this with anything. Hey, Osprey, you can skin this on any IP. What about a Judge Dredd version? Now I'm just hoping. Anyway, my friends, check out Undaunted Normandy by Osprey Games. I'm your buddy Big Johnny G for Two Gun Pixie presents Legendary Gaming, and my friends, I am out of here.